actually can use tools, training aids, coaches, and how you kind of design a practice to get better. So I'm going to go over kind of the basic tools and training aids that we use, that you can use, and a couple of examples. So the very basics would be batting tees, rubber tees, Tanner tees, Tanner heavy tees, what would be recommended. I'll show you pictures of those in a second. In training bats, we use short bats, heavy bats, long bats, and light bats. And what swinging different size and weight of bats does, not only from like a swing a heavy bat, build power, swing a smaller bat, build speed perspective, is we develop proprioception, which is a fancy word for feel. If a player learns to swing a big bat and find the barrel, and then swings a short bat and finds the barrel, he's developing feel, and feel is what we need in order to get better as a baseball player as we go up in levels. The better feel we have, the more adjustability we have in our swing. We should build that in. I encourage you guys to have your players swing as many different types of bats as possible. They don't need to swing their game bat every day in every drill at all times. With training balls, we'll use wiffle balls, tennis balls, short or limited flight balls, and heavy balls or plyo balls. And then for nets, bow nets, L screens, and A frames will help you with your fielding practice. And I would recommend that you guys pick up at least some of these to have a little bit more efficient practice. As far as batting tee is concerned, you can do well with all of these options. This on the left is your $20 rubber tee. You can get this from Academy. They're all over the place. This is what I use with my own kids. I've got a 19-year-old, and I've got 7, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and my wife is pregnant now. So I will be using this for most of what I'm doing, working with them at the house. It's cheap and it's easy. This Tanner tee here is what most professional organizations and team uses right now. It's about $80, so it's pretty cost efficient and it'll last you a long time. The only drawback is it's pretty light, and you probably have to put like a weight on this to keep it on the ground if you got a player that doesn't hit the ball crisply off the tee. The one on the right is what we have here at Hitforth, and that's a Tanner heavy tee, and it weighs like 10 pounds, and that one rarely ever falls down. It lasts a long time, and if you can afford it, I think it's worth the money, although it is a little bit more difficult to transfer to the field from your car and stuff like that. For training balls, on the left is the Skills wiffle balls, and I would recommend those to you guys as opposed to like the old white wiffle balls. The Skills are about $20 for a dozen pack, but they'll last forever. They won't go out of round, they won't split, and it's an easy way for you to run practices without worrying about either somebody getting hurt or the ball's flying too far and hitting somebody on another field or whatever. Tennis balls are great because not only are they slightly smaller than a baseball, so it gives the player a challenge of hitting something a little bit tighter than a baseball, but when they do square it up, it goes a little bit further sometimes. And so what we'll do sometimes is take players out to like second base, and we'll throw tennis balls because it'll give them like a boosted home run derby. They hit from second base, they learn to drive the ball over the field, and then we just continue to work it back until we get closer to home plate, and they're hitting the ball over the field with a regular game ball. Baby steps. The last one on the right is a power net, and those are small mini plyo balls, which we use here at Hitforth. And what those do, they're a little bit heavier than the ball. Most of them are between 12 and 16 ounces. I prefer the 12-ounce balls. The 16 ounces are a little too heavy, so for your young players, they'll hit the ball and the bat just stops. They can't drive through it because it's too heavy. Using a 12-ounce or lighter ball like we have will help players to really drive through it. So I'd encourage you guys to get the power net balls, which are on Amazon and are super cheap, like 40 for $6, and they'll last you forever. And they're great for small spaces, like if you can only hit behind the field, in between cages, you need an extra station, you can use those, and they won't go more than 20 or 30 feet. And for nets and screens, here's some options for you. So you've got basically a bow net, which is a net L screen on the right. It's easy, you throw BP through it or around it. In the middle, you've got a bow net sock net, costs about $100. Those are all, I think both of those are found at Academy. On the right is what they call an A screen. And the A screen is angled on both sides, so you can throw right-handed or left-handed overhand BP around that and still give yourself some protection. The problem with the L screen here on the left that we've all seen and used is that right-handers, you got to flip it around for a lefty or whatever. So The one on the right, the A-frame, is just pretty economical. You never have to switch it. You can just throw from the middle of the mound and light them up. For advanced tools to give objective feedback, this is kind of what we'd recommend, okay? A bat sensor, we use blast sensors here at Hitford, and a ball speed radar. We use pocket radar. We have HitTrax, which can kind of do the big ball speed on every ball. But you can also use like a Stalker Sport 2, which is used by a lot of scouts as well. We'll use bat speed trainers, Axe bat speed trainers on the walls of every one of our habitats here so the players have access to it. And a simulator is the ultimate, and they have Rapsodo, which can go out to a field or in a cage. Takes a little bit of time to set up, but will give you on an iPad all the data and where the ball would land on a real field, give you that instant feedback. And a HitTrax is what we have here. And what I recommend to anybody who can get access to it, if not here, go to a cage that has a HitTrax. It'll change the way you train. A bat sensor like Blast, you can see it there on the bottom of that knob. It costs about 150 bucks. And what we track with it, what we think is important are bat speed, time to contact, attack angle, and power. That's it. They've got a lot of new metrics that they'll throw in there. The unfortunate part is some of our good hitters score really poorly in the new metrics that they've developed. And some of our bad hitters score really well in those metrics, which means there's no correlation. What we know is that a player generates high bat speed is generally a really good hitter. If their time to contact is really short, really tight, then they can hit baseballs. They can wait a little bit longer before they start their swing and still get the barrel to the ball at contact. Attack angle is whether they're swinging up or flat or down, and we want to measure that to show whether there's improvement. If I got a player that's really a big uppercut or really steep and swinging down, I want to know that, and I want to know if he's getting better through our training and our practice. And the last thing is power, and power is bat speed and bat mass. If you swing this wood training bat, this stick here, no matter how fast you swing it, a real ball is not going anywhere. It doesn't have enough mass. But if I swing a regular BB core, high school, or a wood bat, it's got so much mass that I can swing a little bit slower and still produce a lot of power. So what we're looking for is the highest bat speed possible, generating the highest power possible, a short time to contact under 200 milliseconds. We'll measure that. And I want the attack angle for youth players to be between 8 and 16 degrees, slightly up at contact consistently. And so we actually measure that with our players to see whether they're following those windows. The other option is for a ball speed radar. These cost about 300 bucks. Pocket radar is what we'd suggest for you guys. And as you see on the picture on the right, you can literally just put it on a tripod mount, stick it behind your hitters or your pitchers, and get instant feedback on their exit velocity, how hard they're hitting the ball, how consistently hard they're hitting the ball. You can track this on your own, get an Excel spreadsheet on your phone and track whether they're hitting the ball harder consistently or whether the pitcher is throwing harder consistently. And what I think you'll find is that you'll see in practice, players swing at a certain speed, and in games, they'll produce